Hello and welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. Will we see scenes like this on Sunday? We speak to Spanish fans in Yorkshire and England fans in Spain ahead of the Euros grand final.
Absolutely amazing. Grandson on that, he'll be able to look back on it in history like I look back at 66.
We are Gilderson Spurs, and tonight on Look North, we're going to show you how England can win the penalties on Sunday.
Yeah! Just like that. Also tonight, a special reception celebrating the life of rugby league legend Rob Burrow takes place in Leeds. New claims that events at Orgreave during the miners' strike were orchestrated by the government. Reaching a new audience, the 92-year-old pianist from York who's become a social media star.
And we've had a lot of cloud out there today, but will the sun shine just in time for the Euros final this Sunday? I'll have the very latest towards the end of the programme.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. England's footballers are on the brink of history as they prepare to meet Spain in the final of the European Championships this weekend. People across our region are preparing for the big game, with Yorkshire defenders John Stones and Kyle Walker likely to start for England. Corinne Wheatley has been speaking to fans of both teams here and in Spain.
Palmer finds Watkins.
The moments of magic that have lit up living rooms and sent pubs around the region into raptures. Never mind the players, England fans have needed to hold their nerve in this tournament and hold on to their hope when all seemed to be lost. It all comes down to one test on Sunday. Is it coming home?
Yeah, I think we've got a good chance. I think they've just waited. They've waited and waited. Semi-final, final. Yeah, I think we'll do it.
Really excited, can't wait to watch it really. It was just a brilliant result the other day, last minute, fantastic, can't wait.
Oh, it'll be amazing, absolutely amazing. Grandson on that, he'll be able to look back on it in history like I look back at 66.
Lions!
The Lions.
If you've got a message to the England men's team and Sir Gareth Southgate, what would you say?
If you have a chance to shoot, don't take too many touches.
I think that it's going to be amazing and that England's absolutely going to win, and Spain, they're going to crush them. And I'm waiting for that, you know. I've already have a little champagne in the fridge for that.
From Germany to Spain, ole, ole, ole.
But in some corners of Yorkshire, the Spanish fans are feeling confident, like Jose, who runs this tapas restaurant in Wakefield with wife Sophia.
Well, we're going to have in our family home, kids, grandkids. It's a family reunion for us. Bear in mind, the only Spanish in the house is me, so I don't know what's going to happen.
But it'd be great atmosphere because all our children are into the football. I think I'll have to sit on the fence to keep the peace.
Jose's friend Jesus is one of the lucky ones with a ticket to the game in Berlin.
Very happy to be part of the atmosphere, and I'll be supporting England. But I'm going to be wearing a Spanish shirt underneath, just in case I end up in the wrong part of the crowd.
Well, regardless of what happens on the pitch on Sunday, the Spanish definitely win on the culinary front. John and Steve from Sheffield will help provide the soundtrack on Sunday. They've been playing in the England band, following the team everywhere they go for 30 years.
It'll be everything because it's what we set out to try and do as well, is support them as best we can and to enjoy everything, and to be there when they win it. Just be phenomenal.
In good spirits, these Spanish exchange students have been in Sheffield for a couple of weeks. Do they think England are in with a chance?
No.
Oh, all right.
Spain's going to win because they have a better team, as we've been seeing in the matches.
I think they just have luck.
No, I don't think so. I think it will be like a 2-1 for Spain or 3-1.
For those at home and abroad, the countdown is on for what's shaping up to be an unforgettable final. Corinne Wheatley, BBC Look North.
And there's some fighting talk there. Well, that's quite enough from those Spanish fans. Let's hear from some more England supporters. Paul Ogden is in Gildersham in West Yorkshire, where some young footballers are preparing for the match. Oggy, exciting times.
Exciting but very serious business, Amanda. This is not just a cheerleading exercise. Gildersham Spurs, routine training exercise here at Bruntcliffe Academy up by the M621. And they're taking it very seriously, this Euros final, to the extent of enacting penalty shootout techniques with varying degrees of success, with and without the ball. We've got a goalkeeper here, Dylan, a keeper who knows about the pressure. How hard is it when you're facing a penalty as a keeper, Dylan?
I'd say it's a lot of pressure, really hard to save it, because your teammates are relying on you to save the penalties, so you don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah, but there's more pressure on the penalty taker than the keeper, surely.
I wouldn't say that, because net's massive, and the goalkeeper's not the size of the net, so it's not as easy for them to save it as it is to score the penalty, I think.
Well, I trust your judgment. Fantastic looking gloves as well. Is it going to go to a penalty shootout? What do you reckon?
I would say, yeah, well, it could do, it's possible. It just depends who Southgate plays. We've got a good squad. He just needs to be mindful that it could go to penalties, and he just needs to leave some players on but also take them off when needed, because we don't want tired players on the pitch.
Yeah, you could be right. Or maybe I'm being over-optimistic. Do you think England can cope with Spain?
I think they just need to not let themselves overthink about it, because once you start overthinking, you just doubt yourself, and you can't doubt yourself when you're taking penalties.
Yeah. Some very intelligent opinions here at Gildersham Spurs. I can tell that England and their performances at the Euros have been a big topic of conversation. If you were picking the team, who would take a penalty in your opinion?
I think that Saka would be a good option, because he's very confident and he's confident on the ball as well.
Any more options?
I feel like Phil Foden, because I feel like he's really confident with it and he doesn't let the pressure get to him.
Yeah. Any more?
I think Tony, because he can take it without looking, which he's got a lot of confidence to do that, and I'd be very scared, so I think he'd be able to take a good penalty.
And if you were taking a penalty, would you feel the pressure?
Yeah, I'd be really scared.
I'll tell you what, there are some people back here who've been practising. You can feel the expertise in this club, and you can see the techniques as well. The keeper might be the answer. Fantastic here, and they've not just put this on specially for Look North. Gildersham Spurs have got this many players, male and female, at any routine training session, as has been the case all week. With us on Look North, though, there's only really been one topic of conversation, and let's hope the taking is as good as this, if it gets to that, between England and Spain in Berlin on Sunday night. Back to you.
Oh, let's hope so. Thank you very much, Oggy. Next tonight, a special event has been held in Leeds to celebrate the life of rugby league legend and motor neurone disease campaigner Rob Burrow. Rob died last month after being diagnosed with MND 5 years ago. Rob's family, friends and guests from charities and the world of sport and politics all gathered today for a civic reception. His wife Lindsay called it a bittersweet moment. Phil Bodmer was there.
Amid the wood-panelled splendour of Leeds Civic Hall, this was a celebration not just of the life, but the legacy of Rob Burrow. Family, friends, sporting personalities and politicians were among almost 200 guests gathered to hear speaker after speaker pay tribute to a rugby league legend.
This is a man that used to break my heart. This is the man that I used to shed a tear for. When Warrington thought they were going to win, one person stepped up to the mark, Rob Burrow, inspirational player, a magician, a true warrior. And I wanted to be part of that legacy of Rob Burrow.
In between the speeches, footage of Rob's sporting achievements was shown alongside moments from his fundraising campaign for motor neurone disease, which he was diagnosed with in 2019. For Rob's family, a sense of immense pride.
To be here and to hear the tributes, it's such a bittersweet day, because I know how proud Rob would have been to be here, but I'm sure he's with us in spirit. So just hearing the tribute, and we always knew he was special, and I think when you live with Rob, it's just Rob to us. But I think to kind of hear all the tributes and the impact that he's had, for the city of Leeds, for the rugby league community, and for the MND community, it's just really heartwarming.
The civic reception followed last Sunday's funeral for the 41-year-old who died in June. Thousands lined the streets to pay their respects as the cortege made its way to Pontefract Crematorium.
The last 6 weeks have been extremely difficult, but on Sunday, you know, the outpouring of love on the streets, and then here today, it's just incredible, and we thank everybody for support and how generous and kind they've been.
This is a sensational try from Robbie Burrow. What a score!
In total, he won 8 Super League Grand Finals, 3 World Club Challenges and 2 Challenge Cups during his career.
Rob's a completely inspiring character for the city. You know, his combination of toughness and ability and achievement, but also his compassion and his kindness, and that family that he's got behind him directly, and also the Rhinos. We absolutely had to do to mark that.
For those who played alongside him, it was the person as well as the sporting prowess that made Rob Burrow so special.
Of all the awards, the accolades, the silverware, the medals, the rings, they pale in significance. When I think about the friendships that were galvanised during that experience, I think that's what we'll all carry, a little bit of Rob inside of us all as we march on into the future.
As a player, Rob Burrow will be remembered as one of the finest of his generation, but it's his tireless fundraising campaign to help build a new centre for MND bearing his name which will ensure his legacy lives on. Phil Bodmer, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Yes, remembering Rob in Leeds today. Now you're watching Friday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. The multi-billion-pound cycle route used by 800 people a day, critics say it's a waste of money. Now, 40 years have passed since the mid-1980s year-long miners' strike, but one moment continues to stir anger and passion. Striking men clashed with police on the border between Rotherham and Sheffield at Orgreave in June 1984. Campaigners have long called for an independent inquiry about police behaviour. Now, the most senior legal officer of the Welsh Government says the decisions about policing that day came from the top of the government. Tom Ingle reports from Orgreave.
The remarkable thing about this part of the world is just how much it has been totally transformed in the last 4 decades. The coking plant where the police and the pickets so catastrophically clashed is long gone. In its place, new roads, new houses, new businesses, new people living here, of course. And to them, this is probably just a nice place to live. But for many others, the name Orgreave has much darker connotations. A defining, ugly moment in modern British history. At the height of the year-long miners' strike of 1984, pickets and police are involved in a bloody clash outside a South Yorkshire coking plant. John Dunn was a miner, and while not at the so-called Battle of Orgreave, is a fervent campaigner for an inquiry into the police tactics on that day.
I've got lots of friends who are still traumatised by what happened that day. We've commissioned a new report that we've already delivered to the Home Office, and we're waiting now, and I'd like to see the Home Secretary pick up the phone, ring the Secretary of our campaign and say, what do you want?
The new Home Secretary already knows the answer to that question. A full independent inquiry similar to the one conducted for the Hillsborough Stadium tragedy. It was in Labour's election manifesto. The most senior law officer of the Welsh Government, who represented striking miners as a young solicitor, is in full support.
The decisions over Orgreave, which is why we want the inquiry, could only have come from the highest level. My belief, my strong belief, is that those decisions came from Downing Street. They came from the top of government. It was a political decision to directly intervene in the miners' strike and basically to give the miners a good beating, to teach them a lesson.
Some of the men arrested at Orgreave were charged with rioting. Trials collapsed when police evidence was deemed unreliable. However, a former officer says it should be left in the past.
I'm one of Maggie's boys. I mean, I know I was a tool being used by the government to beat the miners. That the war with the miners had to be won. And it was a war. It was a war between authority and the law, and those that believed they had the right to keep every pit open. It's history, and I believe it should be left as history.
4 decades on, and in communities across the UK, but perhaps most of all in Yorkshire and the North Midlands, the miners' strike and the flashpoint of Orgreave remains bitter and divisive. Campaigners now look to a new government for answers. Now, we should say the BBC has spoken to a minister in the Margaret Thatcher government of the 1980s who declined the opportunity to give us an interview. Likewise, we've spoken to many of our newly elected Labour MPs today to see if they had any thoughts about when the inquiry that has been promised in the manifesto might take place, but none have decided to speak to us. We have had a statement from South Yorkshire Police who say it would not be appropriate for the force of today to seek to explain or defend the actions of the force in 1984, as everyone who was involved in policing then has long since retired and the information we hold has not been properly assessed. Nonetheless, 4 decades on since the infamous Battle of Orgreave, an inquiry seems ever more likely.
Some more news from around the region now, and a Doncaster man who raped a 5-year-old girl has been jailed. Kieran Southernland was described by police as a dangerous sexual predator after being sentenced to 25 years at Sheffield Crown Court. He was found guilty of 2 counts of rape and causing a child to watch a sexual act. The 29-year-old also admitted making indecent photographs of a child. An inquiry's found children at North Yorkshire's Ampleforth College boarding school were exposed to the risk of sexual abuse because of safeguarding issues. A report from the Charity Commission says there were significant weaknesses and failures in the approach to and handling of safeguarding matters at St Lawrence Educational Trust and the Ampleforth Abbey Trust, which were both involved in running the college. The report says both trusts have since made positive strides. Now, Sheffield's Park Hill flats have won a National Architecture Award. The award from the Royal Institute of British Architects recognises the UK's best buildings that provide insight into design and social trends. The award is for Park Hill's regeneration plans and its significance in what's known as brutalist design. Now, 10 years ago this week, Yorkshire was getting back to normal after the excitement of the Tour de France coming to the region. Since then, there's been a big increase in the number of dedicated bike lanes and cycling infrastructure. And new figures show that in West Yorkshire, around 800 people a day are using the cycle superhighway that links Leeds and Bradford. But critics say that's not enough to justify the multi-million-pound investment. Here's our transport correspondent, Spencer Stokes.
After the Grand Depart had departed, building work on a network of segregated cycle routes got underway. That network has steadily grown over the last decade, allowing cyclists like Ben Hall to make the journey more safely from his home in North Leeds to work in Bradford. For the first few miles, he mixes with other vehicles before joining the cycle superhighway, a 14-mile bike lane, almost all of it fully separated from traffic.
Everything's clearly marked, so people are guided to do what they should be doing. Doesn't mean that I'm having to stick out my elbows or be extra assertive, you know, to justify my presence on the road. You know, I can just use the bit of road which is being designed for bikes.
£39 million was spent on the cycle superhighway, money from a combination of government and local funds. Cycle counters show it's being used by an average of 800 people every day. Across West Yorkshire, all cycle routes combined have seen 13 million riders. But there are those who feel the routes should be attracting more cyclists.
Well, for the last half an hour I've been on this road, I haven't seen a cyclist, and this is something which I live in this area, not far from here, and I see it day in, day out. I don't see any cyclists on the cycle lane. In fact, we spend huge amounts of public money, taxpayers' money, which I personally think is a waste of public money. Places like Oxford and Cambridge, of course, people will cycle, but when you've got hills, it's not conducive for cycling.
Whilst road-based cycle lanes divide opinion, an alternative is to create a greenway. In Otley, planning permission has been granted to convert the overgrown former railway into a fully fledged cycling and walking route through to Burley and Wharfdale. The project has political backing, but awaits funding.
Tour de France, Tour de Yorkshire, that was a huge inspiration to people. There are a raft of economic, social and environmental benefits of having a greenway. Yes, There is a lot of work to do. There isn't a lot of extra travel funding around at the moment. I've got the confidence to cycle down the busy A65. I'm fine with that. Other people, and in particular young families, that's not encouraging for them. There is no safe space for them to get out and get that confidence on two wheels.
It's envisaged the Wharfdale Greenway could eventually stretch the length of the valley through Ilkley and onto Bolton Bridge. Back in Bradford, Ben has arrived at work, a journey he'll repeat tonight on West Yorkshire's growing cycle network. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North.
Now, at the age of 92, a pianist from North Yorkshire has become an unexpected hit on social media, with videos of him playing the piano being enjoyed by music lovers around the world. Richard Cameron, who lives in York, says he's bemused by his newfound fame and has described it as a lovely surprise. Phil Connell has been to meet him.
Richard Cameron has played the piano for most of his 92 years. His talented fingers still as quick and as nimble as ever.
The joy I like is what you can do with, say for example, summertime. So simple.
And are your fingers still as nimble today as they were 30, 40 years ago?
That's about the only part of me that is.
But they're still going strong.
Yeah, yeah.
For 30 years, Richard was a professional pianist, playing to guests in some of the best hotels in York and London. Now though, thanks to Carl Mullen, a friend and fellow musician, Richard has found newfound fame, with Carl posting videos of Richard on his YouTube channel. They've been viewed thousands of times, with Richard thrilling music lovers around the world.
I think it's astronomical. I'll be amazed if I'm still able to play at that, if I'm still breathing at that age, but able to play anything like at the level that Richard can. Yeah, it's amazing. Loads of nice comments, people saying wish he was my neighbour so I could listen to the sounds all day. Splendid Richard, bravo.
For Richard though, who still plays the piano every day, fame in his twilight years has all been a bit bemusing.
Tried for 13 years and nothing ever happened before that, and to find all of a sudden at 92 that it's unbelievable. All my girlfriends seem to have gone absolutely mad. There's one in Hungary, sends everything over to Hungary, and I've got quite a following out there.
A whole new fan base.
Yeah.
With help from Carl, Richard's planning to post more videos in the coming weeks and months, proving it's never too late to show the world what you can do. Phil Connell, BBC Look North, York.
Absolutely beautiful, Richard. Hashtag still got it. And did you hear him talk about lots of girlfriends as well? Never mind the piano playing. I tell you, you got it all on a Friday night. Now onto the weather, Katerina. Yes. It's been a little bit disappointing, hasn't it, this week?
The question,
any improvement?
Well, the question on everyone's lips is where has summer disappeared to? Very, very good question. It's really going to stay unsettled right through the weekend, even football day on Sunday, I'm afraid. And then Monday and Tuesday, we're in for some heavy and thundery downpours, so no signs of summer as of yet. But really the best of our sunshine, any clear spells was first thing this morning, but as the day progressed, those clouds really did gather, and around now those clouds are still rather cloudy out there, and it's going to stay that way through, as I mentioned, pretty much most of the weekend. So thank you as always for sending in your photos. If you'd like your picture on the telly, you can send them in via social media or head to the Weather Watchers website. So through this weekend it's going to stay unsettled. There'll be showery bits and bobs of rain, although football day on Sunday is going to stay quite cloudy. There shouldn't be too much rain around. If any, it's going to be very light and very patchy in nature. So we've had high pressure out to the west that's drawn in this northerly airflows. It has been quite cool out there today. Low pressure stays close by out in the North Sea. That's going to continue to feed in all that cloud over the weekend, and then this next system is going to work its way through from the southwest Monday, bringing in further potentially heavy and thundery downpours, and it's really going to stay very similar through the day on Tuesday. So cloudy conditions this evening and overnight. Showers will continue on and off, and it is going to stay quite breezy along the coast. Further inland, those winds a little bit lighter, and our temperatures down to around 10 degrees. So your next high waters then, we've got at Scarborough at 9:38 tomorrow morning, and then Filey at 9:54. So quite a miserable start to our Saturday morning. It is going to be mostly cloudy. The best of any brightness will be further west, but I think that brightness is going to be very limited through the course of the day. Most of that rain falling across eastern areas, where here it is going to be breezier. We're looking at highs of around 15, 16 degrees. It should be much warmer at this time of July, and in fact our average highs should be around 19 or 20 degrees. So we continue with that northwesterly airflow. So cool out there tomorrow, and then football day on Sunday. It's going to continue rather cloudy through much of the day. A few spots of patchy rain and drizzle, and then Monday and Tuesday it stays unsettled. Yes, both brighter days, but there is a chance of some heavy and thundery downpours on Monday and Tuesday. Amanda.
Katerina, thank you very much. Will you be watching the football?
Absolutely. You?
Yeah, well, I'll be here working actually.
Oh, fantastic.
Maybe put it on in the newsroom. Me, myself and I. This is our last full look north before England's huge game against Spain in the final of the Euros. You can, of course, watch the match live on BBC One from 6:30 on Sunday evening. Let's hope they can make history, winning a first major football tournament for the first time since 1966. Good night.
It's coming out!
Amazing! Amazing!
They didn't crack under pressure, and that's what we want to see from him.
I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless.
It's coming out!
What a journey it's been. South, big up my boys!
Palmer, Watkins came on, they made the difference. Come on, England! That was mental. We needed that bit of brilliance.
Never had a doubt.
Just shirts off, throwing around, beers all over.
Jordan Pickford is the best keeper in the world!